The Texas Tech community is gearing up for one of the most spirited weeks of the year. Coming up, we'll have a look at how you can get involved during the 2018 edition of Homecoming Week.
It's a cold day on the Tech campus, and it looks like it's going to stay that way for a while. Find out how students had a chance to create a tasty treat to make it through the change in weather next.
And after a week off, the Texas Tech football team headed on to Fort Worth on a mission to bring home a victory. MCTV's Paige Sachse will have highlights from that game, along with a look around Texas Tech athletics and sports.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Monday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Uvie Bikomo.
And I'm Angelina Galvan. Every year, the Texas Tech community comes together to celebrate some of the university's most loved traditions.
That's right, Angelina. It's officially Homecoming Week. From now until Saturday, various campus groups are taking part in annual events to help stir up school spirit. Earlier today, the Student Activities Board hosted the homecoming kickoff in the Sub-Red Raider Ballroom. Starting at noon, Raider Red, along with the Saddle Tramps and members of Tech's cheerleaders and the Pomp Squad, led the crowd in cheers to get everyone pumped up for the week's activities. This year's candidates for Homecoming King and Queen were also announced, along with a special speech from Dr. Bill Dean. Today's events wrapped up with the singing of the school song and a preview of Homecoming Week's festivities. This year's homecoming theme is Raider Palooza, and many of the week's events are built around the slogan, "We bring the festival, you bring the music." For a full list of the year's homecoming events, visit homecoming.ttu.edu.
Climate change has become a hot topic discussion throughout the United States, including right here in Texas. And last week, a group of experts came together to talk about how climate change is affecting our world. On Friday, the Office of the President hosted the first event of the Presidential Lecture and Performance Series in the Sub Allen Theater. Before the event, a press conference was held at the KTTZ TV studios with three panelists who were taking part in Friday evening's discussion. The panel included Bob English, Michael Weber, and Texas Tech own Catherine Hayhoe. During the press conference, the panelists gave a preview of some of the topics that would be discussed during this event.
Here in Texas, we are the most vulnerable state in the entire country to naturally occurring weather and climate disasters. That's because we get it all. We get hurricanes and floods, droughts, heat waves, ice storms, blizzards, haboobs, tornadoes. We get everything. And the number one reason why we care about a changing climate is because it's loading the dice against us.
Texas emits more carbon dioxide than any other state and has for decades. We also have the most to gain from taking action, which is we not only reduce our vulnerabilities, but we have the most money to make because we have a lot of the low carbon solutions the world wants.
It's particularly exciting to be in Texas because if we could turn Texas to this awareness that there are opportunities ahead of us, not just dangers, clearly there are dangers, but also opportunities in free enterprise to create the new energy systems that will power the world. If we play our cards right, we'll sell those systems to willing customers and we'll create wealth and jobs. And it's really pretty exciting.
Friday night's event was the kickoff for the 2018-2019 edition of the Presidential Performance and Lecture Series. The series continues with various events through next April.
The fall season is officially in full swing here on campus, and that means the weather is about to get a lot colder. With that in mind, one campus group hosted an activity that gave students the chance to make a special creation that helped keep them warm. On Thursday, the Student Activities Board held the Make Your Own Soup event in the Sub across from Copy Mill. From 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., students passing by could stop and mix together various ingredients to help create a tasty treat to take home. There were also recipes on hand to help participants get just the right amount of herbs and spices to make the perfect soup. Make Your Own Soup was one of the several MYO events that the Student Activities Board hosts each year. For a list of SAB's activities and events, visit sab.ttu.edu.
If you had to be on campus for an 8 a.m. class this morning, you probably noticed that it was much colder than normal. And if you felt like it was freezing outside, you were exactly right. The Lubbock area experienced the official first freeze of the fall at 4:35 a.m. this morning. The National Weather Service recorded the drop to 32 degrees at the Lubbock airport a few hours before sunrise. Here on campus, the Texas Tech Messnet site showed the first freeze to hit a little later. At 7:10 a.m. either way, this morning's first freeze hit the Lubbock area earlier than normal. Our average date for the first freeze is October 31st. Even though the freeze was sooner than expected, it was still just over a week later than the earliest freeze ever recorded, which took place on October 7th, 1952. Today's first freeze is only the beginning of some big changes in our weekly forecast.
That's true, Angelina. It looks like fall is finally here to stay. Let's take a look at the MCTV forecast. We've been seeing a lot of clouds in the MCTV Tower Camp today. Those clouds, along with breezy winds, have made for a cold start to the week. So far, temperatures have stayed in the 30s all day. We won't see much of a warm-up before sunset. Overnight, lows will fall back into the 30s, but luckily, it looks like temperatures will stay above freezing. Tomorrow, it looks like cloudy and colder conditions will be staying in the forecast. Tuesday's highs will be a little warmer than today, but breezy winds will make for a cold commute to classes. Gloomy conditions continue into Wednesday, but we will finally see temperatures climb into the 50s. But late Wednesday afternoon, a storm system will move into the area, and we could see rain throughout the night. On Thursday, rain chances will continue to stay in the forecast throughout the day, and temperatures will again climb back into the 50s. Looking ahead, wet conditions stay in the forecast to end the week before the return of the sun brings back warmer temperatures this weekend.
As we mentioned earlier, it is officially homecoming week here on the Texas Tech campus. With that in mind, here's a special homecoming edition of the MCTV events calendar. Tomorrow, the Student Activities Board is hosting one of their most popular events of the year, and they're doing it twice. Hair Bear is scheduled to take place at the Free Speech Area Gazebo at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. During the Hair Bears event, students can stop by and create their very own keepsake stuffed animal. And since this year's homecoming is Raider Palooza, each of the bears will feature their own rock band style. If you can't make it out to tomorrow's Hair Bears event, SAB will host the same activity on Thursday. Tomorrow and Thursday's event are free for anyone with a student ID.
Also tomorrow night, if you're looking for some entertainment, members of Texas Tech student organizations have a show for you. The annual student organization Sing is set to start at 8 p.m. at the United Supermarkets Arena. This annual homecoming event features dance numbers set to popular music, all performed by members of Tech's Greek community and other student groups. This year's So Sing will feature acts built around the Raider Palooza theme. At the conclusion of the event, the winners of the year's competition will be announced. Student organization Sing is free for all students.
And on Wednesday, make lunch plans to stop by the annual Tamale Fest Saturday at 10 a.m. Crew at Texas Tech will be handing out free tamales in the open area between the Architecture and Media and Communications buildings. Along with tamales, chips, salsa, and drinks, and more will be available for anyone passing by. Along with the food, Crew will also have a covered seating area along with some outdoor games for attendees. Wednesday's event wraps up at 3 p.m. or whenever the food runs out. Tamale Fest is free and open to the Tech community.
The Texas Tech Red Raider football team is back on track after a big win last week in Fort Worth.
MCTV's Paige Sachse has a look back at the game along with the rest of Texas Tech athletics and sports. Paige?
Thanks, Angelina and Uvie. Last Thursday, Texas Tech football broke the TCU Horned Frogs' 8-game home winning streak with the 17-14 win on the road in Fort Worth. This win pushed the Red Raiders' record to 4-2 on the year and 2-1 in conference play. Jet Duffy marked his first career start in conference play. Duffy finished 13 of 24, passing for 190 yards and had 16 carries for 83 yards, including a very impressive 62-yard touchdown to Jadion High. The great takeaway from this game was the improvement on the defensive side of the ball. They forced 3 turnovers on TCU and an interception in the end zone, as well as a missed field goal attempt. The Horned Frogs couldn't overcome their mistakes, and the Red Raiders left Fort Worth with yet another road win. Tech will be home this week on Saturday against Kansas, and with the momentum on defense and a more comfortable offense, we could see another win on Saturday. After coming off 2 consecutive losses against TCU and Oklahoma, the Red Raider volleyball team hoped to win against Kansas on Saturday for their annual Pink Out game, but unfortunately fell short, losing 3 sets. All 3 frames went down in nail-biting scores, but the Lady Raiders were unable to overcome the 16.5 blocks made by the Jayhawks, making it the most blocks they have had all season. Coach Tony Greystone keeps a positive attitude in the fact that they will play Kansas again, and he, as well as the rest of the team, are looking forward to a different outcome. There are some notable stats from the game. Junior Emily Hill leads the team with 15 kills and 9 digs. Freshman Brooke Canis was neck and neck with Hill, having 12 kills for the game. Up next, the volleyball team will face number 4 ranked UT on Saturday. Women's soccer went on the road this weekend, first facing Kansas State on Friday night. The Lady Raiders stayed scoreless through the first half, and at the 73rd minute of the game, Kirsten Days scored the first goal of the night, increasing momentum. And just 2 minutes later, Jade King scored her team-leading 7th goal on the season. The Lady Raiders leave with a 2-0 win, hoping to stay undefeated on the road. The Lady Raiders focused on the next game against Kansas. Last night was a dramatic game with the Jayhawks, the two teams battling in the rain and the Lubbock-like winds. They remained scoreless in the first half as well. Kansas remained in control for most of the game, forcing goalkeeper Marissa Zucchetto to make 3 crucial saves. In the second half, Brooke Danisic took a free kick, finding freshman Cassie Hyatt to send it to the back of the net, forcing an overtime. Just over a minute into overtime, Jade King kicks the winning shot, and the Lady Raiders left Kansas with yet another win under their belt. They hope to continue this momentum, hitting the road again on Friday against TCU at 7 p.m. Cross country competed in the Texas A&M Arturo Barrios Invitational on Saturday morning. For the men's race, Miguel Bautista came within 3 seconds of the first place spot, placing 3rd overall. The upperclassman was one of 3 that outpaced the rest of the pack to race for first. His 3rd place finish helped move the Red Raiders to 15th as a team. Bautista was in the top 100 finishes, as well as 2 other Red Raiders, Steven Alvarez placing 69 and Joaquim Zuniga placing 90th. On the women's side, Cecilia Dalla ran a personal record of 21 minutes and 43 seconds in the 6K race, placing 33rd overall. She is one of 6 to place in the top 100, along with 5 other women's runners, Brett Lee Nance, Lauren Offerman, Ariana Lopez, Binta Ka, and Jasmine Martinez. The cross-country team will be using the positive outcome to race for the Big 12 Championship on October 26th. That's all for Texas Tech Sports. You can look out for more information at texastech.com. Back to you, Angelina Uvie.
Thanks, Paige. The airwaves here on campus have been pretty quiet during a huge construction project on the west side of campus.
That's right, Angelina. But as of this weekend, Texas Tech's 3 broadcast outlets are back on air. This is a live look at the KTTZ KTXT broadcast tower located in the commuter parking lot west of the United Supermarkets Arena. Starting in July, Texas Tech's 2 radio stations and television station went off air due to a huge tower renovation project. The project included a new broadcast antenna for KTTZ TV, along with some upgrades to the tower's structure and supports. The other 2 stations affected by the tower project were KTTZ and KTXT FM. KTXT is Texas Tech's only student-run radio station. While the station was off air, KTXT continued to broadcast over the internet using the station's audio stream and Facebook Live. The KTXT also recently celebrated College Radio Day by broadcasting exclusively on the internet. As of Saturday, the station is back and at full power, and you can listen to KTXT by tuning in to 88.1 FM on your radio.
So, Uvie, have you had a chance to listen to KTXT since they've been back on air?
I actually have, and I have to say there's been some pretty good content. What about you?
No, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Definitely. That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check it out on ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you on Thursday.